how early did you make that a sacred thing?
Early, because it goes back to myself. 2009, I make a commitment. This is going to be my career path. My sponsor tells me, then you have to attend the next annual event. I'm like, he said, what's your goal? And I had big goals, right? He's like, then it's non-negotiable. I'm like, okay, I'll go. If you say that important, where is it? When and where? He's like, it's in 3 weeks. Okay, we sit in Sweden, right? I'm like, okay, yeah, where is it? Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
Las Vegas in 3 weeks. I have my job, I have the football. And he said, if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. And he said one thing that I brought with me. If you want what 1 of 1,000 people can having, you have to be willing to do what 1 of 1,000 people are willing to do. Either you want it or you don't. It was kind of like, I'm like, okay, I'm coming. I just bought a starter kit for $1,000. And I didn't have much more in the account. I'm like, okay, can you borrow me half the flight ticket? And we borrow it now. Borrowed me the money, booked it. I said, do you have somebody I can share a room with? I give them next month when I get a salary. He called a guy called Bill, share a room with Bill, and I went.
Yeah.
But day after, I went to my boss at job. They said, you cannot be free because you have to take your vacation in July. I'm like, I have to go. Didn't go. I have to go to his boss. Then I went to the soccer coach. First exhibition games preseason, because in Sweden it's April to November the season, right? And this is like end of January, early February. He's like, you cannot go. I have to go. Then we might put you on the bench and you'll be the second choice goalkeeper. I said, I'll take the risk. So I did big sacrifices to get there, actually.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Eric Worre here, and welcome to the Excellence Project. And I have a top network marketing leader today. His name is Marco Passanante. He has built a business with lots of lessons along the way. He's a rising star, and more than a rising star. He's one of the tops in his company. And I think there's a lot of lessons. I think success leaves clues. So let's jump right into my conversation with Marco Passanante. Marco, how are you?
Great, Eric. How are you?
I'm doing good. We're getting together because we just finished a mastermind and you happen to be in town. So we were able to sit down the day after and just have this conversation. So I'm looking forward to learning more about your story, origins of Marco Passanante, and what your life's all has been about up until now. Where'd you grow up?
Sweden. I'm Swedish-Italian, but I grew up in Sweden mostly and spent summers in Sicily.
Okay, so you grew up in Sweden. I did not know that. And summers in Sicily, because you don't have a Swedish accent.
No, and it's not Italian as well, right? I got a mix. I think it's a mix of I don't know what.
So it sounds a little bit more Italian to me.
Maybe a little twist, maybe a little touch on it.
A little bit, yeah. So were your parents in Sweden then?
Yeah. So my father's from Sicily, but he lived in Sweden, but they separated when I was 1. So I was...
Who'd you live with?
90% with my mother.
Okay. So in the summers, you go visit your father?
He was also living in Sweden.
Okay.
But just outside of the city where I went to school. So I went to him like in the weekends or every Sunday when I was older.
I see. And what did your parents do?
My mother was bartender.
Okay.
So I lived mostly with a single mother, bartender. My father had a restaurant, a pizzeria.
Okay. Good pizza?
Good pizza, really good pizza.
Right. Like, is it Italian pizza? Is it here? Help me end the debate. Is American style pizza better, or is Italian style pizza better?
Italian. If it's done the right way, you can't compete with Italian real pizza.
Really? It's like so floppy and stuff compared to like a New York style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's very different for sure.
Very different. Healthier.
For
sure.
You feel better after?
Yes, exactly. So I always have this debate with Marina because she's like, no, it's Italian for sure. And I'm like, oh man, New York pizza is a little bit different. So anyway, so you're both kind of in food service a little bit, food and beverage.
Correct.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have a sister from my father's side. She's 8 years younger.
Okay. And so growing up, were your parents like entrepreneurially minded, or were they just hustle, grind, work hard?
My father was just work hard, hustle, real old school. He had to start working. He had there were 8 siblings, and he had to start work when he was 12 to bring home some money in Sicily in the 60s. So he was hardcore work. My mother, as a bartender, also worked to put food on the table.
Did they make you work when you were a kid?
My father tried to, but I played soccer.
Yeah.
And I was really going for a soccer career.
So that was your super. When did you decide that soccer was going to be a serious thing? How old were you?
Already when I was like 11, 12, I was
Like you were
talented.
good?
Yeah.
You were good?
People thought I would go all the way. I thought it as well.
Really?
Yeah.
What position did you play?
Goalkeeper.
Goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Really? So interesting. So how tall are you?
6'2",
6'2"? Okay.
186 and a half,
Yeah,
187.
because I've met some World Cup goalkeepers and they're pretty big people.
Yeah.
You got to have a big wingspan and you got to be able to like jump to those corners and all that stuff.
That's true.
So you're going to school, but you're focusing on football.
Yeah.
And where were you playing?
In Sweden.
In Sweden.
But I got stuck in second division when I was older. I played until I was 31.
Wow. So you go through high school, you're playing there, you're probably a star. Did you go to university or did you just go into the club system?
Just the club system. Because it's very different in Europe, right? It's not the college system like here.
It's club system.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're kind of groomed.
That's what you want to do.
Club,
You want to get to a club as early as
level one,
possible.
level two, all that stuff. And how close did you get to professional?
I mean, there was teams in highest league that was very close to sign for twice. One of the time I thought it's going to happen. Both highest league in Sweden, highest league in Denmark. Then I was in third division or fourth division in England. I was there training for a week and it looked good. I thought it would take me. Last second, they took a goalkeeper from the highest league, the second goalkeeper from there. So he got released last second. So
we have family friends and different people that I've known in the professional game. And like my second youngest son, my middle son's best friend plays NFL football. And he's a linebacker for my team, the Minnesota Vikings.
Wow.
And asking him about what it's like. So he was a star in high school and star in university and then got drafted like fifth round and worked his way through. And I said, tell me what it's like. He said, well, from college to pros is a completely different world. And then there's the ones, the twos, and the threes. So the twos and threes are very, very, very close to each other. Second string backup, their backup, very, very close. But the difference between a two and a one is night and day. The ones are unique unicorns. He's a one now, but learning that, right? Going through that process and how tiny little edges compounded makes such a huge difference. So well done you for like moving through the ranks and achieving that. I had aspirations of trying to do it in American football when I was young. And
what happened?
I just wasn't good enough. I was okay in high school and went into community college. That was the only reason why I went to community college and made the team second string, which meant I went up against the first string. I was on offense and went against the first string defense every day and they just destroyed me, so it's like, and there was no chance I was going to go farther. I mean, these other people were just so amazingly gifted when it came to sport. You just go, whew. I wanted to go in and play linebacker, and then I saw their linebackers. I'm like, no shot. I mean, these people look like, I don't know, grown men, and I was still a boy. It's like, I don't have the muscle mass for this. I don't have the speed for this. I don't have the strength for this. Man, these guys are freaks of nature. But I always find it interesting, like as people rise through the ranks, I had two dreams growing up. One was sport and the other one was like theater, the entertainment stuff. And I wasn't good enough for either. But what I liked the most, like in sport, can you like going through the tunnel and coming out onto the field and people cheering and everything else.
Magical feeling, and the preparation.
And I still get that in my career now. When I walk out the tunnel, I come out, I get the applause. So I still kind of get that. And even though I wasn't good enough for theater, I kind of do theater too. I just found another way to communicate, to entertain, to educate.
I often say that when people ask me, do you miss soccer a lot? And I'm like, if I didn't do network marketing at the level I do, I probably would miss it much more because we get the stage time, we get that, the preparation, follow the daily process. And
so tell me what you learned kind of going through that to become excellent, become that whisker away from superstar.
I always gave my all. I always trained extra because it was always that daily, the process, right? You just show up daily, get it done. It's not about, oh, do I feel like it or not? 6 o'clock every day I had to be on the pitch. It's not about, oh, I don't feel like it today. You just, you don't even think about that. Oh,
So no negotiating.
Am I motivated today? It doesn't matter. You just go out and do the
Where
work.
did that come from?
I mean, my dad had an insane work ethic. He was very strict, very hard, no complaint, really tough. So I think I saw
some from there. Did you watch other players that had that discipline and you said, okay, if they do that, then I'm going to do that?
I studied. I had some idols at the highest level.
Who were they?
Studied them. Peter Schmeichel was a goalkeeper when I was young. So Peter Schmeichel was my first big idol. Then it was Gianluigi Buffon, the Italian goalkeeper. So I looked at all the videos with them, interviews I could find, and just wanted to pick their mind and see how they did and analyze how they played and
how they played, how they practiced, how they showed up.
Yep.
The extra. Yep. And when you're trying to go to the next level, every little extra you do probably matters to the coaches, matters to the other team members.
And you're always looking for that marginal improvement, right? That changes everything.
Yeah.
But what I learned there was through that process, always consistency. With that, it has helped me so much in business as well, right?
So consistency, 1. 2 is just not negotiating with the fact that, here's what it's going to take.
You don't even think about, do I feel like this or not? No, you just get it done.
Yeah. So you were able to kind of employ yourself, the passion, you were able to cause yourself to do things that I'm sure there was other players that were maybe even more gifted than you, but they didn't have the same work ethic, same consistency, and you kept going when they stopped.
Yeah. I mean, that came when I was a little older, 18, 19. At 16, they called me up to the first team, and I wasn't so serious at 15, 16. This came a little later, and then I turned totally at 19, and from there changed the whole mindset. And
what did your mom and dad think about you as a football player?
I mean, my dad was always like, yeah, you're just talking, you're not going to make it anyway. So he was a little not so supportive.
Yeah.
My mother
did that push you? Did that make you want to prove him wrong?
Yeah. And he said the same thing when I started network marketing. That was one of my biggest, I mean, he was never going to be able to say, what did I tell you again?
Right.
That was one of the biggest driving forces when I started this career, right?
Wow. Right.
Well, but my mother always gave me love and support. I mean, she had to leave her home at 16. She got me at 21. So of course there was no success, no prosperous mindset or abundant thinking in any way growing up. No way. But she always gave me love and said I could do whatever I wanted in my life. So she was always supportive.
So I want to ask you this. Which approach helped your future the most? Love and support or toughness? It's
funny because I analyzed that so many times. And since my father was extremely tough and hard, my mother gave me love and support. But since she was a bartender, she was away a lot. So I was alone. Nobody could help me. I had to take responsibility early. I had nobody to help me when I was down an evening. There was nobody often because she was away 4 nights a week, every second week, and 3 every second week. So taking responsibility, I think that helped me the most. That there was nobody there when I set
You didn't have a support system. She loved you. She encouraged you, but she wasn't there because she had to work.
She had to work, exactly.
So there was nobody to save you. You needed to figure it out. You needed to figure out your food. You needed to figure out, how to self-soothe.
One of my biggest gifts today, right?
Yeah. So that was probably the biggest of all of it, yeah?
Yeah.
And then a little bit of a driver of, prove your dad wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That was strong. That was strong.
Yeah. So you went through this whole thing. I want to talk about in your 20s, you were playing for a living?
So since I play in second division, you don't make big money there.
Yeah.
So actually, because we train every night, games, weekends, trainings, I worked daytime. From 21 to 25, I've worked full-time the last 2 years.
What were you doing?
I worked for a newspaper from 23 to 25. For a newspaper, I was responsible for advertisement for a section of that newspaper. So I worked 10 hours a day, played soccer every night.
Okay. So that paid the bills.
Paid the bills.
And that went all the way to, you played till 31?
No, so at 25, so 2007, I'm 24. My best friend shoot himself. December.
Was he a player as well?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so he shot himself. And this is December 2007. I was not in network marketing at the time, but I had been in for 2.5 years, 20 to 22 and a half. And when he shot himself, I had a couple of months. I kind of cried myself to bed every night. But I went to work. I went to practice every night. But in some way there, I started thinking and analyzing different things, right? More like, am I happy? No, I want to do something that means more. And I cried myself to bed, but I'm like, you keep going. And I decided, sometimes we cannot decide how long we live, but we can decide how much we live. And I made a decision, I'm going to live more. So I started looking at starting my own business and doing something with meaning. And 1 year later, that's when I made the decision, network marketing is going to be my career.
So, and how old were you when that happened?
24.
24. Yeah. Okay. So network marketing, you get introduced to it.
20 to 22 and a half, I was active.
So hold on. So when were you, what do you mean you're active?
So when I was 21 years ago, I started.
Oh, so you got involved in network marketing.
Yeah, at 20 years old.
So you were involved, kind of part-time doing the stuff while you were doing the other work.
So at that time, only network marketing and the soccer.
Okay.
And I built a company 1 year, and then my whole upline left that company. I joined them, and then they left again, and I joined them. And then when they left again, I quit.
So enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were kind of bouncing around a little bit.
They made me bounce on, right?
Yeah. So, hey, come follow us. And some people find themselves in that bouncing cycle. It happens. Hopefully they stop bouncing and they find their place and they dig the roots in. Everybody's always looking for something better versus just dig in where you are and go to work. So, all right. So now I understand the story a little bit better. So you were involved in network marketing for a bit, bounced around with following your leaders, then did some regular non-network marketing work for a couple of years. Yeah. But at age 24, how did you, when you walked away from that other group, how did you get reintroduced and how did you find a home?
So 1 year after he shot himself is when my first mentor at 20 years old, who was successful with that company, who got me into personal development and my first mentor of success and business in my life, he contacted me. And we sat down and I made a decision. This is going to be my career. Had the job, had the football. I did this part-time for 9 months. I made one commitment. I'm going to give these 7 presentations a week for 1 year, no matter how it goes. That was my commitment. And I did that part-time. After 9 months, I quit my job and went full-time. So now it's 16 years.
That's a really good discipline. One presentation was 7 a week for a year. Yeah. So 365 presentations. What did you learn from that process?
Again, back to the mentality of sports, right? Because you set a plan, you decide what you want, you set a plan, and you just stick to it. For me, it's non-negotiable. I set a plan, I create a to-do list, I get it done. So again, back to consistency, right? And that is fall in love with the process. Focus on activity, not the results, because whatever you want to be good at, you have to be willing to do it badly many times. So that was the mindset. So I stayed consistent. One defining moment, my 3rd month in business, I did the 7. One Sunday, this is probably a seminal moment of my career. 2 cancellations on the Sunday. It was a Sunday, I'd done 6. I started calling. It was afternoon on Sunday. Couldn't get a meeting. Drove to the gas station, put some gas in, armed with a brochure and a sample. Walked in there, prospected the guy in the gas station. I ended up drawing circles, doing a presentation in the gas station. He said no, but I walked out of there so proud. I felt like I grew a lot just by, I've done what I said I'm going to do, no matter outcome. I stick to the process. I'll stick to the process. Step by step, I will get there one day.
I love it. Tony Robbins talks about that. It's like he doesn't negotiate with himself. He says, you're going to do it. Get in the cold plunge. There's no negotiation. There's no argument. I'm the boss. Yeah. Make your body do what it needs to do because you said so. Yeah. Drive the gas station.
That's the accountability, right?
Yeah.
If I don't do a to-do list the night before, Eric, I get nothing done. If I do a to-do list, I get everything done.
So you do a to-do list every night before the next day?
I have to do it. If I don't do it, I get nothing done. So people worked with me for years in the past said, Marco, you're like a machine. You're so disciplined. I said, yeah, if I do the to-do list, I'm super disciplined. But if I say, yeah, let's do the cold plunge tomorrow, then I can negotiate with myself. But if I write down, jump in the cold plunge 9 a.m. and do a box. It's ticking the box. I get a maniac with these boxes. So that's my accountability system. But if I don't write it down, create the box, I won't get it done.
Yeah.
It's
So
like,
you'll lose the day.
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. So how long did it take? You went full time after 9 months. How long did it take before you were making, was it 9 months where you started making enough to pay the bills?
9 months, the ninth month, I passed 4,000 a month. So I quit my job.
And you felt like it was reasonably stable?
Yeah, because I wanted more passion. Right? I was not happy at the job. I was actually suffering at the job.
Sure.
Just needed to get out of it.
Yeah.
I wanted the freedom.
All right. So, and that was age 25?
Yeah, I'm 26 at this point.
26 at this point. So, how old are you now?
41.
41. All right. So 15 years ago. So walk me from like 25, 26 to 30.
Yeah.
What happens in your career?
So the first company I was with 5.5 years, went full-time after 9 months. Year after, 2010, I was only stable at the probably 5-6K a month. First year I was full-time. When I went full-time, I didn't do as much as I did before. It took me half a year to get in rhythm again.
It's
because all
common.
of a sudden, yeah.
That happens a lot.
So I saw that. So 2011, actually, I went backwards a little and I was struggling in 2011. Then 2012 is the first time I felt like double from where I was the year before. 2013, I hit Elite Club in that company and started doing well. So it was 2013, I went, past the 5 figures on a stable way.
Yeah. Okay. So 5 figures a month. Yeah. All right. So, and for whatever reason, something happens, you find the need to make a move.
Yeah.
And you made a move when?
2014, after 5.5 years with that company, I made a move and joined another company, and I launched very well. Did well there, but I saw behind the curtains stuff that I cannot support. And I'm like this, Eric. Many talk about it, I live it. If it's not done with honest integrity, I'm not interested, because network marketing is not about the money. It's about the impact I can do.
Sure.
I will win whatever I do, but here I can use that power and skills and mindset to help people win as well.
Yeah, I think there's something that happens that is basically, if you're involved in an organization and you can't, with confidence, go sponsor your mother after you know what you know, then you're done. You're stuck, because politicians can just go up and flat lie every day. And they seem to have no problem with it. But it's hard to look at a prospect and say, hey, come change your life and come over here, when you don't feel like there's a future.
Or walk up on the stage in front of your team and pretend that you believe in this.
Yes.
What I did, Eric, there after 9 months, actually, I flew in my top 10 producers for a dinner and told them to the face that, just so you know, and I lived in Marbella at the time, and it was actually going well as well for me, growing. And I said, I don't believe in this anymore, just so you know. And 3 of them got so mad at me. But at least, it's like my intentions is clean, clear conscious, and do the right things for the right reasons. Then it doesn't matter what they think.
Right. And when did you kind of land on the company that was going to be your forever company?
So I left that after 9 months. I checked the company that is the one I've been for 8.5 years, but they were only in Scandinavia. I was already global. So I joined another company. And when I joined, I sat with the president of Europe. I said, you're half legal in Europe because you make these claims. I had a list. He promised me within 3 months that would be fixed. Half year in, not fixed. Call him, nothing. 8 months in, nothing. 1 year in. After 16 months, doing well. I had a very quick growing team in Korea, US going well, Europe was growing. I just made a decision that I have to leave. I don't believe in this long term. It doesn't feel right. And that's when I joined the company I've been with for 8.5 years.
And what year did you start with them?
2016, August 2016.
So finding the company, you just go, okay.
Yeah.
And
that company was not ready, because if I look from a marketing standpoint and everything, I felt it's by far the least attractive company from marketing standpoint when I joined it. It was not something that I felt was ready really, but the people, the vision, I bought into it, and the values behind the people. Yeah. So I felt here I can plant a flag and dare to believe on a 30, 40 year perspective.
Right. Here's what I've come to know when it comes to, and some people listening to this are like, oh my gosh, it's like 4 or 5 companies. Well, look, you might date some people too before you get married, right? And every time,
Hopefully,
you hope, right? You hope that you find the one, and if it's not a fit for some reason, if it pans out, I would discourage people from, as soon as it's not fun, jumping somewhere else, because there's going to be times when it's not fun and it's just a grind. But if there's integrity issues that aren't fixed, if it's, you know, the model is damaged, there's just companies that have that, or you get to know the people and it's like, oof, if that does, I can't control that. And if that doesn't change, I have a problem, to ultimately find the place that you can sink your roots in deep. So anybody listening to this, if you're with the company that's where you can sink your roots in deep, do that. And
100%.
be very slow to make a move.
Yep.
unless it's, a moral or integrity issue, or, belief, confidence issue. I heard a phrase that, every company has problems, all of them. Like even you said, your company didn't feel like it was ready, for like a global brand. Decide which company you're going to have your problems with.
Exactly.
And be part of the solution.
Yep.
If you can, influence what you can, control what you can, help where you can to be able to grow it. So anyway, I'm glad you found your home.
Yeah. And also I was right. I left them. I said they won't last. None of the three lasted.
Yeah. Well, good. Well,
Good or bad.
maybe good, maybe not. But
I have to say, Eric, adding on that, because same with dating. If I didn't date other women in the past,
you wouldn't know what you had. Yeah.
how do I know what I really like without perspective? Sometimes we need perspective to appreciate what we have.
Yeah. And I will say some companies have been a total train wreck, just a disaster. And then they figured things out.
Yep.
They made major changes. And I think all of us as human beings will go through change, and companies go through change too. They're run by people. And sometimes there's somebody in the way that's doing something that nobody feels like they can change, but then something happens and they make a change. So anyway, just interesting. I wanted to give people some perspective on all of that. So you find this company, they're not really big and strong and, bold and a global brand, and you start going to work.
Yeah.
So how was the journey early with them?
It was tough because after the disappointment, felt lied to, betrayed, I was kind of like, I was hurt. So it was a little tough. So the whole mindset for me was a little like, I just want something genuine. I'm so tired of the fluff, the fake, the hype. I don't want to be part of that. And the emotional baggage made me a little tired and burnt, but I felt that the other way, that I want this. And I didn't care if it's going to take me 10 years to rebuild. That was my thinking.
Okay. So what kind of success did you have early? Well, walk me through kind of year by year.
I think after the first months, I launched the 21st of August. It was like 7,000 something. I made 7,700 euros the first 9 days with them. And then I also went to that rank at that level, and I never went under that again. So I was quite stable on that, and then slowly went upwards.
And some people would go, well, gosh, that's a lot of money right up front. But you'd been around the profession for what?
Yeah, at that time, I
10 years or something?
Full time already.
Yeah, so you knew what you were doing.
7 years. Yeah, because the other two launches when I left, I made 20K after a month, right?
Yeah. So you knew what you were doing. So I don't want people to go, oh, I didn't make $7,000
No,
my
exactly.
first month. Same thing was true when
I had
you first started
experience,
too. All right. So you got in, you made enough to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long was it before you had a big breakthrough where it started to go? Because I know it's gotten huge now.
I've had kind of like, then the second year we went from 3,000 to, I think it was 7,000 active customers. And then we grew 20%, went to 8, 9, 10. I would say probably the nice breakthrough was at 4 year in.
Mm-hmm. And then
4 or 5 years in.
And what was the change? What made the big impact?
I think a mix of
tighten the systems,
tighten systems, the company getting a little more appealing, mix, right? And also staying consistent in the basics long enough, right? And growing, because remember, I left my first company, and the second or the third, the first shift was easy. People follow me blindly. Second one, many follow me. After that, even people who followed me took a spot and never did anything. So I really had to build. And I didn't have a leg or anything. I had to build brick by brick from zero. And I felt a lot of people with no experience become leaders. And that was why it was slower, because I was building people from scratch.
I just wanted to break in for a quick second and ask, what if success in network marketing was just one habit away? The reason most people fail isn't because they aren't capable. It's because they aren't taking the right daily actions. That's where GoPro Insider comes in. It's an average of just 7 minutes a day, but it's every day. You'll get practical coaching from me to help you stop overthinking and start winning. All for as low as $9 a month, just 30 cents a day. Your next breakthrough is waiting. Go to GoProInsider.com and make it happen. Okay? Now back to the conversation. Yeah. So talk to me about what is your methodology for taking somebody who joins your business? They're willing, they're coachable, they're hungry, and how do you develop them? What's your secret in developing people?
Yes.
Or your process?
Yeah, the process, if somebody gets started today, I send them a get started video, because tomorrow is the launch meeting.
And you made the getting started video yourself?
Yeah. So a 20-minute get started video. I send a get started video and I tell you, Eric, I want you to look at this get started video. Then we have your launch meeting after or tomorrow. Within 24 hours, I want to book the onboarding meeting. Watch the video. I want you to take notes and share your key takeaways. Because that was a little thing that changed a lot, because now they pay attention, right? When you know you're going to present to me tomorrow, now they're listening. And now that video did so much on my job in the get started meeting. And then, of course, the onboarding, we have a one-pager in our team. Simple, ABC, right? Okay, what's your goal? What do you want out of this? What's your plan? Let's look at your calendar today. How much time do you spend at your job? Where's sacred time with family? What can you commit, Eric? How many hours a week? Let's make a 4-week plan right now. You commit to amount of hours. And then it's the income producing activities, right? Because I've had them do the list. I've had them break out the easiest 10. And I divide potential customers, 20, 30 potential customers, 100 potential business partners. But pre-meeting, watch the video, list and think about what you want out of these goals. So then the meeting, we go through that. I talk about the list with them, and then we take action. Invite for presentation, we book weekly coachings. So we analyze after every week what we did and see what we need to work on.
So you get them launched and then you set them up on a weekly check-in.
Yes, but I will do the presentations for them. Potential customers, I do in groups.
Especially at the beginning.
Yeah, because one thing I do as well, if you're new, no experience, I will take away your pressure. Eric, the people you're going to talk to the next few days, the presentations, to take away the pressure from them, I'm like, it doesn't matter if they're interested. The whole purpose is educating you.
Yep.
And I also tell them the invitations first, texting, call, no matter how you invite, people are not going to take you serious. You're gonna mess up the first conversations. So I kind of prepare you, I set you up for accepting that you're going to be terrible at this. I burned my whole first 10 contacts. I burned them all. You're going to do the same.
Yep.
So now when they burn them, like, that's what Marco said, right? So I prepare them for really what's going to happen. And then it's a commitment. Just I share my story right back to my 7 a week. What's your number? Let's set a minimum standard for your business. I'm here to help you, but we need a minimum standard. And then, because if we have the goal and the standard, after the coaching after a week or two, nobody wants a boss, right? So I guide you through what you said you want. I don't tell anybody to do anything before you gave me a commitment, a goal. But after a week or two, nobody wants a boss, right? But I can say, Eric, you said your tempo was 7. We have done 3 on average the first 2 weeks. Just so I know how I can help you here, you want to lower your goals or you want to raise your activity? Where are we right now? Just so I know how I can support you. So I'm working with them, right? It's not like they don't feel I'm a boss, but at the same time, I demand commitment, right? If they're going to have my time.
So combination of launch, strategy, weekly check-ins, accountability.
Yep.
You're doing the income producing activities.
Team call, we promote the team call. You have to be on team calls, ticket for next event.
So, I mean, there's a process for them to become kind of ingrained, but how do you teach them how to become independent from you?
Yeah. Okay.
What's that strategy?
My whole strategy for that is the me, we, you. This is why I can send a video, we can do that, but I want you, leadership is more caught than taught, right? So I'm going to resell you every time we present for prospects for you 5, 6, 7 times. I'm going to resell you on the business. I'm going to teach you how we communicate. So we do a presentation. The first 5, 6, I do them.
That's
me. Me. After 5, 6, depending on personality, 3 for some, 4 for some. Then we do the first part of we. You, of course, you share a story in the me. The we, you do product, I do business. A couple of times. Then we discuss what we covered, how I did, give you feedback. Next part of we is I do product, you do the business. Give you feedback, and then you do it. And then record it or something and send it to me.
How long does it take to get a person from the me to you?
Depending on their tempo, right? If somebody wants to do 7 a week, I'll hold them accountable to that, right? We invite, we do the steps together, and then 2 weeks. If we do 14 meetings, we've gone through the whole process in 2 weeks. And all of a sudden, I'm going to get you so skilled in 2 weeks that people I work with, like more online, where I use more videos, because when we have a lot of team with some, it's like group time, and going to take them months to get independent. Say what I can do with you. 10 days, I'll get you independent.
So, and that's on that. And then you get them independent on other things. You use the same process?
Yeah.
So, today's world has changed. There's high tech, there's high touch. What have you found has worked the best, in person or virtual, or what's the blend?
I think we're always looking for the perfect balance, right? But
what is it today? I'm curious.
I mean, if we count online, for example, I'm launching people on Zooms, right? I mean, it's not like I'm sitting, 99% is Zoom. I have a global business. It's not like I'm sitting with many live, unfortunately, not many live. It's on Zoom, but I work with you online like I would do offline with communication and everything. And then, of course, I'm using technology to be more effective. The Get Started video. We have a team page with educational videos. Yeah, but Marco, now we did 5 presentations. Yeah, I have a question around presentation. Can you do a coaching on that? Yeah, go in and look at the video, write down your key takeaways, and then come back. We can have a quick call where you share key takeaways. I give you some input on that.
Yeah. What you're saying right there, I'm hoping that everybody listened. There's one thing to tell people there's a library. It's another thing to tell people there's a video. Go listen to the video. And it's a third thing saying, go listen to the video, write down your key takeaways, share them with me when I get together with you, and then we can do some coaching. Completely different. You just tell them there's a library, nobody will go. You tell them there's a video, they won't really watch.
And even if they watch, they don't retain anything.
They got stuff going on. But you tell them, watch, tell me your key takeaways. Now they have to pay attention, and they're engaged in a different way. They're learning in a different way. Yeah. And now their questions are going to be more meaningful. You know, it's like, okay, I'll give you feedback on that. All right, let's answer some questions and move you forward.
Yeah. And then to get independent in the process, when I do it with you, we say you launch 2 people. I'll do the Get Started for your people with a 1-pager 2, 3 times. 4th time, you're going to do it. But I inspect what I expect. Eric, 3 o'clock, you have the launch for Mary's new parties. Your first Get Started onboarding meeting you do alone. Let's set up a call, you and me, 30 minutes in the morning. I want you just to quick run through with me exactly what you're going to cover. So not quick call, you just share what you can cover, so I can just give you small directional, marginal.
Yep. So let me, and I don't know if you have these numbers off the top of your head, but I'm curious. In the 8.5 years, how many people have you enrolled? Do you know? Approximately?
Over 700 in my career, right?
Yeah.
Probably here now it's, we had trips for 50 a year. I did them 3 years in a row, 250 maybe.
250 people.
Yeah.
And out of those 250 people that you've enrolled in 8.5 years, so what is that? It's about
around 200 here in this company. Around 200.
30 a year or something. 30 times 8. Yeah. 25, 30 a year on average.
Yeah.
Okay. There's probably some spikes here or there.
Yeah.
So out of those 200 or so, how many of them turned into just customers? How many of them did a little, and how many of them did a lot?
18. I have 18 of them active with kind of a weekly plan. We're working. So I would say 18 almost series builders, where probably 15 of them are series builders.
So how many of those people have at least one full-time person in that line of business?
12.
12 have a full-time person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or 11.
11, 12, something like that. So it's like 5% or so have a full-time person. And most of those are just using products. Some came and went. They're tourists because the price of entry is low. So, and out of those 11 full-timers, I'm guessing there's one that does maybe 40% of the total business or so in your whole group. And maybe another one does maybe 25, 30. And then it starts to be a lot of 5s and 10s.
I think probably a little lower than that. So 130, 115.
Yeah, okay.
Because I kind of my top 5, 6 independent ones that
are solid.
Yeah. So.
All right. Yeah. Of the superstar lines, it's how many? 5, 6?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And that's kind of normal, right? You're going to go through some numbers in order to be able to develop people, even if you have a process to do it. I'm always like to look at numbers anytime I can. Right. So your company does regular events, conventions?
Yeah.
How often?
One yearly convention, and then do on the big markets, corporate set up a yearly event for that market as well. Then we have our yearly event for our top leaders in my team.
Okay. So that you do on your own?
Yeah.
Okay. So you do a team event, company does a region event, and then there's a big international convention. Yeah. How many people do you have? How important are the events? One, and two, how many people do you have in attendance at like your company annual event?
I think it was last year. The flew in was just under 500, 450. It was last year that flew in for that.
And where was it held?
Oslo in Norway.
Okay, in Norway. So not the easiest place to go.
No.
Right. So somebody's going there.
Online we had a couple of hundred as well, of course.
Yeah.
But
so I like this little event formula that you'll earn approximately $1,000 per person per year that attends a company event. It's not guaranteed. It's just an observation. And that works up to about $1 million a year, but it sounds like yours is higher than that.
Yeah. I think also because we have we have 25 customers per distributor in our company. So I think that's why it's a little different because
it's a thicker distributor.
Yeah. A big difference because in my previous builds, if I had like an event like that with the amount of auto ships I have today, we would have 10,000 at the event.
Yeah.
How I built in the past,
yeah,
right?
100%. So yours is closer to 2,000 plus.
Yeah.
That you're earning per year per person attending that event.
Yeah.
How early did you make that a sacred thing?
Early, because it goes back to myself. 2009, I make a commitment. This is going to be my career path. My sponsor tells me, then you have to attend the next annual event. I'm like, he said, what's your goal? And I had big goals, right? He's like, then it's non-negotiable. I'm like, okay, I'll go. If you say that important, where is it? When and where? He's like, it's in 3 weeks. Okay, we sit in Sweden, right? I'm like, okay, yeah, where is it? Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
Las Vegas in 3 weeks. I have my job, I have the football. And he said, if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. And then he said one thing that I brought with me. If you want what 1 of 1,000 people can having, you have to be willing to do what 1 of 1,000 people are willing to do. Either you want it or you don't. It was kind of like, I'm like, okay, I'm coming. I just bought a starter kit for $1,000. And I didn't have much more on the account. I'm like, okay, can you borrow me half the flight ticket? And we borrow it now. Borrowed me the money, booked it. I said, do you have somebody I can share a room with? I give them next month when I get a salary. He called a guy called Bill, share a room with Bill, and I went. Yeah. But day after, I went to my boss at job. They said, you cannot be free because you have to take your vacation in July. I'm like, I have to go. Didn't go. I have to go to his boss. Then I went to the soccer coach. First exhibition games preseason, because in Sweden it's April to November the season, right? And this is like end of January, early February. He's like, you cannot go. I have to go. Then we might put you on the bench and you'll be the second choice goalkeeper. I said, I'll take the risk. So I did big sacrifices to get there, actually.
Yeah.
So because I went there, that was when that commitment went. That was like, went from kind of, I want this to this is going to be my career path 100% no matter what.
So you've had, how many mentors do you think you've had?
In the first company, the same mentor I had when I signed up at 20 years old, who got me into personal development. I had him, I had 2 others in that company. Second one, I had one who was a machine on working and driving lines. Then he had other negative sides. So there's a 4th one. And then in next company, half a mentor, I would say. And then in my company now, 1. And then from other generic coaches over the years, I've had 2 others there as well.
Okay. So if you can walk me through different mentors, doesn't have to be sequential. Think of a mentor and what was the greatest lesson you learned from them?
First one was probably how he kind of, with the conversation just shared, right? With annual event, non-negotiable. You say you want this, then I have to hold you accountable to that. If you want 1,000, so he kind of, because he was a business guy, traditional business as well. So he teach me early to be professional in business. And he was also a numbers guy, sheets guy, this, that. So he was professional. He was good. So I learned that from him. And then from the others, the second one was inspiring. He talked to everybody. So I saw how he brought that energy to the team, arranged the event. And so to be unafraid, like there was no mercy in him, just go. And then where I built the fastest, my second company, that mentor there is, with him it's driving lines to launch somebody, to really in a professional way, how you drive lines and squeeze out maximum for every line. I learned so much from him. And then if I think about one of the mentors now, how you build it long-term, lay the foundation and not sacrifice long-term for short-term in an impressive way he did. So it's been a good mix of now to the long-term thinking to drive the lines now, but also how you don't push them out of your business and how you, so it's been different kind of.
Yeah, but they all complement each other.
They complement each other.
Yeah. When the student's ready, the teacher shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. So let's say somebody's watching this, listening to this, and they want to have success. Maybe they've never done this, or maybe, just assume they haven't done this. What advice do you have for them?
One is always like, we need clarity, right? What will make it worth it? Why would you take time already from your busy life to create a better life? So it's always like, what will make it worth it? If you can't find that, let's focus on the process. I mean, if somebody starts, I don't know why. Okay. Do you know anything you want out of it? So we go deeper, right? And try to find. So we know what we want or not. Then it's about creating a clear plan. Because at the end of the day, success is very simple. It's just the right habits over time. And don't expect results tomorrow for something you do today. If you want to change your life and build real success, let's give this a 12-month period. You give me your minimums, I'll show you your future. Like I had 7. I won't go on the 7 no matter what. My minimum is 7 a week, 7 a week, 7 a week. Let's just take that for 1 year. Attend events, attend the team calls. I'll give you a couple of books along the way that we will read. I'll take the actions with you, take the steps with you. Let's try to find your why, have clarity, and let's just create that plan with the right habits, because habits plus time equals results for good or bad. And don't expect to be good tomorrow. Let's commit for 12 months.
So same question, but for somebody who's been involved and hasn't really had the success that they want so far. Is it different at all?
I mean, then the conversations, of course, there's different conversation, right? But I often lead with numbers, because if people are stuck, which often, right? If you just say, okay, let's just look at your calendar the last 14 days. What have you done? You're not seeing growth. What's your DMO, daily method operation? What exactly are we doing? So I'm very big into numbers. And like if somebody comes in and says, I want to launch quick. I had a person with experience who joined that I talked to 2 days ago. I want to hit this already in March. How do you think based on your experience? How can we get there? And then I break down to a simple principle with numbers. For example, this person had a list of people who want to talk to. Okay, you're going to reach out to a list. Online, we have to talk to 10x more people, but with a list, you invite them correctly. We teach you how to invite. We present, you use me or your sponsor, because I sponsored your sponsor. We're going to get 1 out of 5, for sure. And often it's even 1 out of 4, right? 1 out of 5. You need your key 5 people lined up in this month so we can win big next month and duplicate the same thing. What's the process to get your 5? We need to sign up 15 people, because 1 out of 3 won't do anything no matter how good you are. 1 out of 3, if you're lucky, we never know. 1 out of 3, often on average, we can really get to take some action. So you need 15 this month to find your 5, to be set up to reach what you want next month. How do we get to 15? 75 presentations. Your formula is 75, 15, 5. 5, 15, 75. Break it downwards. Are you willing to pay the price or not? These 75 presentations based on 30 days. Yep, you need this X amount per day. Can you commit to that? So now I lead more than with numbers because they have their excuses, they have the past ghosts and everything, right? So let's just find the confidence in the numbers, and then we build up your burnt mindset, or you're tired or disappointed from your previous experience. Or
Yeah, a lot of it's just emotional baggage, right? And it sounds very similar between the two. I mean, once you're in, then it's about what is your action plan in order to be able to get what you want. Don't lie to yourself.
because in the past, Eric, for first years, it's always like you have to carry everybody, happy clappy land, let's sing kumbaya, you can do this, you can do this. And then they come to the team calls, and then then they quit after 2 years anyway, 1 year. So it's kind of like, okay, you want to deserve my time? Because at the end of the day, I'm a giver. I have high empathy. I love people. So I gave too much for years, but then I realized, like, if you're a giver, you have to set boundaries because takers never do.
Right.
So now I drive it more with numbers also to protect myself. Like, because I tell them, you don't have to do anything to deserve my love and respect. I see you, but you have to deserve my time. And to see if you deserve my time.
Say that again.
You don't have to do anything to deserve my love and respect. I see you, Eric, but you have to deserve my time.
So good.
Yeah.
It's well said. When you think through your career, what would you say is your superpower? What caused you to have results when other people didn't? What makes you unique?
Always showing up, always growing, always be a student, always get better, always. So I think it's like the kind of goal versus growth oriented. I'm very goal oriented and competitive. I've been all my life. But then when you focus on growth, because goals has a timeline. I can come to the end of a month, I'm frustrated because I didn't hit that target. So I learned to, okay, let's just focus on growth oriented. We stick to the plan. If we say 15 a week and you do 15, no matter results, it's success. So I learned to be growth oriented versus goal oriented because there's no ending to growth. So I think I never stop. I'm curious. I love the process of just becoming better. I'm so curious to see how far I can take this person.
Yeah, I will tell you the things that I see in you as well is your certainty. You're very certain. And I think that probably provides comfort to your team, comfort to your prospects. Like, I'm going to be in good hands.
Yep.
So you're solid in what needs to happen, where you're going. This is a plan. I've got it. You just need to go do the work. And second, your energy. You're always showing up with bright energy in every room. There's some people that don't. Even in the mastermind we were just in, average $700,000 a year in the room, couple hundred people. And, some just were no energy at all. Yeah. And some were bright, shiny people. You're one of those bright, shiny people. Is that something you always had, or is that something that you developed?
Little mix, because I'm more introvert than people think.
Yeah.
Events and stuff, it takes my energy. I get drained quick.
Yeah, me too.
I am like networking events when I go with my wife. She's a natural connector. I'm not.
No.
I'm a good prospector because I learned how to start a conversation. It's like scripted, trained. But it's a war in my head. Open a conversation with a stranger, like, it's so tough.
How do you start it? How do you start a conversation?
Yeah, so if I meet at a coffee place, so I lean to systems, right? Systems and processes, because I don't trust myself. So I need systems and processes. I don't trust myself. So if I come in a coffee place and I see you over there and you look sharp, so I trained it so many times, like how to open a conversation at a coffee place. Yeah, you sit there, I'll take a table next to you, I'll look what you have. You have the tea. Excuse me, I'm thinking if I should have tea or coffee. How was the tea? So now I kind of broke the ice because that's the hardest thing for me. It was good. Go buy the coffee or tea, come back and I took the coffee anyway, but it looked good. Where you from? If we sit in Vegas, they're like, yeah, I'm from Toronto. And you live here, or you here for, what brought you here? So I ask you 2-3 questions. If you don't ask me a question back after 2-3 questions, I don't talk to you. So I open conversations with intent, not intention I'm going to prospect you. I open conversations to see where it leads. 2-3 questions. If you ask me questions back, now we build natural rapport. If we talk back and forth and you say, yeah, I work in Porsche, selling cars. Enjoy it? Yeah, I like it. What do you like about it? I love serving people, helping people. Then before I leave, same line. I always say, Eric, you gave me a great impression. I'm expanding. If you live in Vegas or you live in Toronto, it doesn't matter, right? I'm expanding a business in Toronto area. I'm building a franchise or e-commerce business. And we're looking for the right people. You gave me a great impression. And you said you love serving people, helping people. That's one of the most important traits we're looking for. If you're open for new opportunities, I would be willing to meet you on a Zoom to talk business.
See what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you basically follow that same format every time.
Yeah.
Ask some questions, 2 or 3 questions. If they don't ask you one back, then it's done.
Yeah, because I don't want to chase people.
Yeah.
If it doesn't come natural.
And then I like the little twist in language. I'd be willing to have a Zoom with you to talk business.
Psychology, I don't need you, right? I will really talk to you because you gave me a good impression.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what is it about? As I said, being a franchise or e-commerce business. If you're open, let's talk. If you're not open, you're not the person we're looking for.
Yeah. I love that. And anytime I can find little scripts and stuff, little tactics in order to be able to get people out of their shell, because I'm the same in networking or social events or neighborhood events. I'm just not
Painful,
that guy. Like in our neighborhood here, there's a clubhouse, and Wednesday night, everybody goes up there. Friday night, everybody goes up there. I've never been on a Wednesday or Friday night, not one time. Just because they're all talking about meaningless things. I just can't be bothered. I just don't care so much. I don't care. And they're all, getting smashed and driving home in their golf carts and stuff. It's like, and that's their weekly routine. It ain't me, man. It's just not me. Well, listen, let me maybe conclude with ask you one more question. You've been successful. You're one of the top people in your company. What do you see for the network marketing profession, for your company, for yourself, for your team, 5 years from today?
I mean, if you look at sort of industry, I see old school is the new school because I follow numbers. I like numbers. I have many friends in different companies. And what I look at is like, we created some bad habits during pandemic, right? Spammy pammy, send the videos and this, that, and people have nothing to do to sit at home. But I see many of those had a good check. And now because they lack the skills, right? And they're coming tumbling down now. And then people blame, the industry, many companies go affiliate. Yeah, I would as well. Why do they need you? There's nobody doing the basics. They don't need you. So I see now high touch is higher value than in many years. So the few, I'm 99% on Zooms, right? But when I do the offline, the events and that, I see a higher impact on people again. It's like we feed off energy, right? And the computer is so cold. So people are willing to do that. I see them now the last 2 years, how they glue. That's the glue, right? Maybe sit home and spammy pammy looks good short term. You can grow maybe a little quicker, but what happens 2-3 years down the road? That's things I'm looking at, right? Yeah, great. You hit the top rank in 5 years in a company. Show me 3 years later where you're at, or 3 years in. I'm always curious what happens. Certain behaviors, what it leads to 5 years down the road, right?
Yep.
So I see that people are willing to have the real conversation, even if it's online on a Zoom instead of just videos. They are winning because they're creating the glue in the business, which is relationships. So I see that the industry is looking very bright for the people who are willing to do that. Then, of course, with AI and everything, you have to adjust as well. Mix, right? Where is the perfect balance? We don't know yet. No. So the industry, I'm very passionate about this industry. And then if I look at my team, was second, right? Or one of them you said, I mean, we're going to create one of the biggest teams this profession I've ever seen. We will.
How big?
I mean, 10 million.
What can you see?
I can see 10 million active customers 25 years from now in my group, active. And then we created probably 50 to 100 million customers, right? That's what I see. I don't compete with others. I hope, that's why I say one of the biggest, because I hope there's going to be others that can inspire me, right? But I know the value we give. We build real relationships. And my superpower, you asked before, I didn't get the chance to say my biggest is probably people, human beings. I care about people. And I take the time for people, help them grow. I want to create better human beings on this planet. The classic saying, right? Back in the old days, right? You build a person, the person will build a business. And I create better human beings. That's the biggest compliment I can get, which I get from some of my leaders. Like, Marco, you helped me in my business. Thank you so much. But you helped me to become a better human being. And I want them, I hold them to a higher standard. Honesty, integrity, because that's the glue. Why people leave, there's many factors. One of the biggest factors is character. Because when you lose trust, you lose the moral authority to lead them. So that's why I see our team going to be one of the biggest out there. Again, I don't compete. Honestly, I don't care about that. I just want to see how far I can take myself, my people, my team, and what we can go create. Getting better every day, right?
Yes.
Just and one day we have created greatness.
Yeah. I relate to what you say when it comes to having an impact. There's nothing like having an impact. There's nothing like contributing to somebody else's life. And one of the not talked enough about side benefits of our business is it'll force you to become a better person. And it'll give you a financial excuse to hang around an environment that will work on you. The financial excuse, sometimes, it'll pay you enough money so you can spend time here. And the big benefit is the person you become. It really is. 100%. It's helped you become, it's helped me become, so many others, millions of others around the world. Yeah. So Marco, I just want to thank you for taking some time before you fly back home. You're flying back to Dubai?
Flying back to Dubai tonight. And thanks for having me. And thank you.
Emirates, straight there?
This time BA.
BA?
Through UK.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Emirates is like, man, that's a pretty nice experience.
It is.
Yeah, they do.
Next month I fly Emirates to Thailand. Back and forth.
Yeah, pretty amazing. Well, enjoy over there. I've got a daughter and son-in-law and a granddaughter over in Dubai, as I know you know. But yeah, it's a great city and great talking with you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for everything you do. You've always been loud and proud about this industry, and we appreciate that. Thank you for everything you do.
My man. So that's my conversation with Marco Passanante. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, do me a favor and share this with the world. I think the world would be grateful for your contribution. Until next time, go out there and make today amazing. Bye-bye.